Hey, young Metro,
Lillard, long
Justin,
range
almost.
three.
Beautiful in the morning. Give us something love,
It's a big episode. NBA season is back. And here at CEO Sports Tech, we will be doing a full season predictions as we do for every sport, or the three major ones that we watch. And
World
So-
Cup soon, though. World Cup full preview
facts.
coming up.
facts. And so let's get it, man. Excited. My Dubs played today. Let's go. All right, let's get into it. Here we go. NBA predictions 22-23 season. It's gonna be a good season.
Yeah,
It's Donovan Mitchell, first look, Cleveland jersey.
should be a good season. I think there's a lot of good storylines coming into the season and a lot of stars. A lot to prove this year. You know, Warriors won last year. Let's see if they can do it again and what we predict. So yeah, let's get into it.
All right.
James Harden, Donovan Mitchell. All right, man. A lot to unpack here, but I think let's start from 15 go down. I mean, obviously you can see them all right now, but let's try to talk about each. So I got the Wizards in last, unfortunately. You know, it was tough for me really to break down like 8 to 15. I feel like a lot of these teams can argue that they have a shot to really get into that play-in tournament because
agree.
it's an interesting conference where it seems that there's a really, really solid unit of like 5 teams, but then there's no like awful teams, at least we know of yet, but also started the year, so we don't know who's awful yet. But yeah, I put the Wizards in last. I don't really know. Bradley Beal's still there, as you can
Yeah,
see.
it's a really it's a deep conference, but
Yeah.
it's just like it's not very top heavy like the West, so it's kind of tough to predict.
Yeah, and then I have the Magic at 14. I know they have some new faces. They drafted Pablo Banchero. Yeah, they drafted Pablo Banchero, but I think it just may be a few more years. But once again, like I would not be surprised if this team gets the 10 spot. It's a really tough East to predict. I got the Pacers at 13. A lot of people gave the Pacers too much praise, I think, for the Tyrese Halliburton trade. Because everyone was very anti the Kings, but I actually think the Kings the Pacers won the trade, but Sabonis going to the Kings wasn't the worst move for Sacramento. That's all I'm saying. But Halliburton in Indiana will be interesting. At 12, we got the Raptors. I mean, they literally just won a few years ago, but it seems since then they've struggled a little bit. Could see them going either way. The Hornets have a lot of hype going into this year. I know Oliver doesn't seem to see it, but yeah, I put them at 11. I think they're just gonna miss it. I did see LaMelo Ball got hurt. That's brutal. Hopefully he comes back. I don't know if it's that serious. Do you know what it is, Oliver?
No, I do know he's probably gonna miss the season opener though.
Okay, yeah. So nothing too serious. And then the Pistons at 10. So my first team make the playoffs, or at least the play-in. I think that Cade Cunningham and the Pistons in the second year will have a solid year. I think this Pistons team is not awful. They're gonna get the 10 spot. It's a competitive East, as we have mentioned. Cade Cunningham coming back for them, as I just said. They drafted Jaden Ivey, which is obviously a huge get. So I think that Cunningham Ivy show, which is very young and will definitely be in the playoffs, not even the playing game in 3 years, makes it to the play-in game this year. At night, at 9, I got the Hawks. Hawks team led by Trae Young. They kind of remind me of the Wizards just 3 years before, if you know what I mean, Oliver. Like, they seem a little bit Bradley Beal, Trae Young. I don't know. I feel like this team isn't going to be able to win a ship. I hope they prove me wrong. I do like Trae Young, but I don't know. It seems a little one-man show in there. And then at 8, I have the Knicks. Yeah, I think the Knicks will be a little bit similar to that last year team. I think RJ Barrett will have a better year, though. At 7, I have the Heat, and I think right here there's an improvement of teams. The Heat obviously have had a few good years now, and I think they're a solid team. Last year, they could have easily made the NBA Finals, played the Warriors. I think they won't be quite as good, but they'll be solid. At 6, we have the Bulls, who have a really talented roster, Oliver. Last year, they started off really hot. Unfortunately, didn't quite end the way they wanted, losing playoffs, but I think this team continues to be pretty similar to last year. 5 are the Bucks. This is a big shock. Oliver has them at 1. I don't think this Bucks team is going to have quite that good of a regular season. We see this a lot when teams lose in the playoffs like they did last year. Teams will regress a little bit in the regular season, rest some guys, and then go for a playoff run. At 4, I have the Cavs. They're the new up-and-coming team right now. You know, Evan Mobley, a lot of people like him for Defensive Player of the Year. They just traded for Donovan Mitchell. This team's a new, improved team. Jared Allen in the middle. I
Yeah.
like this Cavs team to be really solid this year and compete, live up to the hype. At 3 of the 76ers, 2 Nets, 1 Celtics, all very close in a run. But I ultimately like the Celtics getting the 1 at the nod. Nets to live up to the hype, have a solid year. I think Ben Simmons actually does better than the experts are thinking. Um, Best player in the league if there's no basket, point blank. And at 3, 76ers, who I think have a solid year.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. 15, I have Pacers. It's gonna be the Tyrese Halliburton show, but I'm really excited to see how he plays with kind of no expectations. You know, I thought they had a pretty good draft. I think Benedict Matherin's gonna have a really good rookie year for them. I like Duarte. He was an old rookie last year, but he's a good player. So I think there's something building, but they still are holding on to some older guys like Miles Turner. So it's gonna be kind of an interesting mix there. But I don't think they'll be very good. Hornets, I mean, this team just can't stay out of trouble. I think, I mean, yeah, you have like LaMelo, um, kind of shaken up right now. Montrezl Harrell left. Miles Bridges is in trouble.
Yeah.
Uh, James Bouknight, who they drafted a year ago, just got arrested.
Really.
Uh,
Jeez.
Gordon Hayward's kind of, you know, not the same anymore, I guess, after that injury.
You got arrested.
On January 6th, yeah. And and yeah, so I don't think they'll be very good. And Wizards, yeah, you kind of touched on it. It's the Bradley Beal show. They got Porzingis last year at the trade deadline. Kuzma there as well. They signed Monte Morris from the Nuggets. I thought that was a good pickup. So I think they'll be okay, just not great. Magic, I expect to see some progression there. Super, super young team, like kind of like what the Kings GM said a few years ago about the Kings, which didn't really come to fruition. They said a young super team. I mean, just think about the starting lineup. That's Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, and Wendell Carter Jr. Very young, a lot of high picks on that team. So it should start gelling at some point. I just don't think this is the year. Pistons, Jaden Ivey and Kate Cunningham, backcourt's gonna be mean. Sadiq Bey has been good. Isaiah Stewart has been good at that center position. So I'm excited to see how this team plays. I think they'll be a lot better. Knicks at 10. We'll see how Randall bounces back from a subpar year last year. RJ Barrett, I think, will be good this year. Signed Jalen Brunson. I thought that was a good pickup. Finally, he can kind of play that true point guard role instead of having a guy like Luka who took up the ball. So I think that'll be good for Jalen Brunson. And then Atlanta, yeah, you touched on it as well. I like Trae Young, but I'm a little worried about his supporting cast. It's kind of just an experience. You lost Kevin Herter, but I mean that's not the biggest loss. But you know, John Collins is back. You got DeAndre Hunter, lost Cam Reddish. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of young guys like Onyeka Okongwu, who didn't really play that much. He's been kind of injury riddled, but I think he'll make an impact. Bulls at 8. Yeah, they have talent. Lonzo's missing time. And they have Caruso, but DeRozan, Vucevic, Levine, pretty good trio right there. And they're starting Io DeSumo at point guard this year to start the year. So that's cool for Io, Illinois product. And then Raptors at 7. I like what the Raptors do. They kind of just find a lot of underrated guys like Chris Boucher, Fred VanVleet. So I like Fred and OG Anunoby and Gary Trent Jr. I think the team will be all right. Siakam, of course. Nets at 6. I think this Nets team is going to be better than last year. I like Ben Simmons. They got rid of old dudes like Blake Griffin. You know, they kept Kyrie, and hopefully Kyrie plays more games because they probably won't have that vaccine mandate anymore. And they still have KD. And yeah, I think the team's actually going to be that bad. 5, I have the Heat. The Heat usually like a top 3 seed. They always try hard in the regular season. But I think they take a bit of a step back because I just think the rest of the teams in the East got so much better. Jimmy Butler still there. Kyle Lowry still there. Bam Adebayo still there. They'll still be pretty good. Cavs at 4, biggest riser that I'd say from last year, of course. I think Donovan Mitchell, their starting lineup now is gonna be, Darius Garland, young, good point guard. He was an all-star last year. Donovan Mitchell has been an all-star. Isaac Okoro, drafted out of Auburn a few years ago. We'll see how he progresses, and they have Karis LeVert off the bench too. And then Mobley and Jared Allen, Twin Towers down low. So I think it's gonna be a good team. 76ers, MVP front runner up last year, Joel Embiid. Take this team into battle. Not a bad team at all. The 3 seed Celtics 2, NBA runners up last year. They played today. They looked really good. Tatum dropped, I think, I don't know, 35 maybe. Brown looked good too. And then the Bucks at 1. I think any team with Giannis should be automatically in contention for that 1 seed. They missed Brook Lopez a lot last year, and he's back. And then, and then Drew Holiday. Chris Middleton will miss some time, so we'll see how that impacts it, but it's not too much, maybe a few weeks. So yeah, those are our Eastern Conference predictions. All right, moving on to the Western Conference, starting at number 15 spot, I have the Spurs. Just really no talent on that team. I mean, I like Keldon Johnson, drafted Jeremy Sohan from Baylor. That's pretty much it. Like Trey Jones, I guess. Jakob Pertl. This team just doesn't really blow me away. They'll win some games though because of the Spurs. Thunder at 14, young core, still rebuilding. Yeah, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey. I'm excited for this team to come though. This is gonna be a good team in a few years. Jazz at 13, they're starting the rebuild process. They blew it up. They found out the Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert didn't work. They're both gone. I mean, they have some like bridge guys who will bridge the generation. Like they brought in Colin Sexton and Jared Vanderbilt and Beasley from the T-Wolves. So like it'll be okay. They still have Conley and Bogdanovich and everything. Rockets at 12. Signed or traded for, I kind of forgot. Christian Wood. He'll come off the bench apparently. Signed Kevin Porter Jr. to an extension. Mr. Food Fight himself. And yeah, so I think they'll be okay. Jalen Green maybe hopefully takes another step in his progression. Kings at 11. I think they'll be a little better than usual with Coach Mike Brown. Good intern. Served as a good intern coach for the Warriors last year. And yeah, I think De'Aaron Fox, Davion Mitchell, Sabonis, Harrison Barnes, Rashawn Holmes. Team's not terrible. They just don't think they're very deep. Trailblazers at 10. They get Damian Lillard back finally. Interesting to see how him and Simons play together again. And Nurkic is back. And we'll see. Nasir Little's locked up for a little bit. Interesting season, but I think Lillard kind of takes a step back this year. Lakers at 9. I'm gonna move. I would move them down if I could now, but I think they missed the playoffs again, but they'll play in for a spot. Timberwolves added Gobert. It's gonna be a good team. A lot of talent starting with D'Lo, Cat. They got Anthony Edwards, of course, Gobert, like I mentioned. So, they have potential. Pelicans at 7. Sneaky underrated team. I could see this team being able to be the 4 seed too. I mean, Zion's finally healthy. You got CJ McCollum now, who played a little bit for you guys last year, and he was good. BI. I mean, this team's good, I think. So, a lot of young guys too made their impact. Jose Alvarado last year, Grand Theft Alvarado. Grizzlies 6. I think they're missing. I think they'll take a step back. They're missing Jaren Jackson Jr. for like a whole 4 to 6 months or something. So I think they will take a step back but once they get him back, they'll start winning again. I think he's a big piece. Suns at 5. Chris Paul's older. Ayton doesn't really want to be there. I just don't really see how this team dynamic's going to work, but they didn't really lose any key guys. Still have McCall Bridges and all them. I think I could see them going up too. Clippers at 4. Healthy Kawhi is gonna be interesting to see finally again with Paul George. The team's pretty loaded. Norman Powell's a good piece. John Wall signed with them, and yeah, it's a pretty good team. Mavericks at 3. Luka's gonna be great. Spencer Dinwiddie was good down the stretch last year. And yeah, I think another good team, pretty deep team, but Luka's gonna do the heavy lifting. Warriors at 2. I think the Warriors will people will know it's like the best team in the West, but their record might not show it because I think they'll kind of rest a lot of their dudes and just make sure they're ready for the playoffs because that's what they did last year and it worked. And then the Nuggets, I think, will be trying to prove themselves and they'll go all try hard and they'll win like 60 something games. Because they finally have Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. healthy, playing with the back-to-back MVP and Nikola Jokic. So I think that team's gonna be a team to watch. But I think they're kind of like the Suns of last year. Like they'll be really good in the regular season and they kind of just choke in the playoffs.
First of all, I know what you're thinking. Timberwolves at 15, they're stacked. They got
Oh, yeah.
Anthony
I
Edwards,
didn't even peep that.
D'Angelo Russell. They got Towns of Carl Anthony, and they traded for Gobert and Rudy. I believe his name's Tim Williams, the GM, Tim Connolly, did a wonderful job. However, I don't think it will work out for them. I don't think that chemistry is going to work. I don't know about two bigs. That's a little bit questionable to me. And we'll see, man. I'm not a believer in the Timberwolves team. I hope they prove me wrong. At 14, we got the Spurs. This is the one thing where I would put the Timberwolves above the Spurs in. Maybe you can make a case for that. The Spurs traded away everyone, traded away their big player and DeJounte Murray. They're kind of in a rebuilding stage. However, Jeremy Sohan, watch out for that guy. His whole Baylor teammates came and supported him in preseason. He was a one and done at Baylor. I don't even think he started. I think he was their sixth man, but he's one of those athletic guys. I think he'll have a solid job. And Victor Wembanyama, future Spur, according to a lot of people. So, according to me, it's a Timberwolves unless the lottery goes away. But yeah, 13, we got the Jazz. Obviously the Jazz look probably be rebuilding now after that tough trades of Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. But yeah, the Jazz obviously gonna be rebuilding, and they do have an insane amount of ladies and gentlemen, amount of picks in the upcoming years. And they also got Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson per sources. So yeah. All right. At 12, we got the Rockets. Whoops. I think this Rockets team is indeed better than they were last year. Last year, they're kind of last place, I believe. But as you mentioned, Christian Wood, and I really like Jalen Green. I think he played well last year. Kevin Porter Jr. and Alperen Sengun. So shout out the Rockets.
Shout out Alperen.
They'll be a bit better. All right, 11, Thunder. This is where we get into teams that I think can compete. This Thunder team is really solid. Obviously, losing Chet Holmgren for, I believe, the whole year, which is brutal.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That's not going to help them. But I think Giddey of Josh is a really solid player, along with both Jalen Williamses, who are both really good picks.
Yeah.
And they also, they have the Dort chamber, Lou Dort. He's still with the Thunder. And of course, they have that Kentucky product, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So I think this Thunder team is an upcoming team that's been upcoming for a few years now. And I think it's time that they finally do compete and make it into that play-in tournament. No, not quite. I got them getting 11th. Just getting beat out by this Pelicans team, who is in a similar way, where they also have a lot of hype around them. And a lot of people are counting on them to finally go. Like, what will this 2022-23 Zion Williamson look like? Will it be the Zion what we saw the last few years, or will it be the college and rookie year Zion, where he was just a beast? Brandon Ingram was a beast last year, and they traded for CJ McCollum. I still like them to underachieve, unfortunately. At 9, I'll speed it up, as the Trailblazers, who I think are an interesting team, as Oliver just mentioned. I feel like they're always in this spot where they're just in the bubble to get like the 8, 9, or 10 recently. And that's not a good spot. I mean, Dame's got to be getting sick of that in Portland. But we'll see how this Trailblazers team does. They got Nurkic back after that gruesome injury he had a few years or last year. And we'll see for this Trailblazers team. At 8, we got the Kings. I like them to overachieve, and I love their hire, as Oliver touched on. I mean, this guy was vital in really the Warriors. Steve Kerr got ejected, I believe, that one game. He had COVID during the Grizzlies series, but obviously we lost that game. And he really likes Damian Lee, but I thought this, he's a good coach. Let's be real. And they got Keegan Murray, who I think is a really good sharpshooter from Iowa. I like that pick a lot. And De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, as I mentioned earlier, is a really good pickup or trade. And they got my most improved player of the year. I won't spoil who it is yet. At 7, we got the Clippers. This team's stacked. I mean, they have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. We'll see how they work out. I still think they'll underachieve. I'm going to move on. 6 is the Lakers. Very similar team. They play the Warriors Tuesday night tonight. we'll see how that turns out. I mean, it's gonna be tough. LeBron James, I think they'll lose to the Warriors probably. I think the Warriors win, but I don't know, a good amount, like 15-ish. But we'll see. We'll probably release it after that game anyway, so you guys will see by then. At 5, we got the Grizzlies, really solid team from last year, and I like them to be a little bit worse, but still really well. Shout out to the Grizzlies, who obviously have Miranda Jaw. Everyone knows him. But Desmond Bane, I think, is going to have a really solid year for the Grizzlies. Remember the name. At 4, we got the Suns. The Suns, I mean, me and Devin are obviously close, so I'm a little biased. But D-Book, we saw them choke last year in the playoffs, but D-Book, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, the big three stays in Phoenix, and they add a little bit as well. So I think this team will be the 4 seed again. I like them kind of to be similar as last year. At 3, we got the Nuggets, Warriors, Mavericks, just like Oliver, just in different orders. I like the Nuggets to go to 3. I just think Jokic has the least help between Doncic, Curry, and himself. And then Warriors 2, and I like the Mavericks to finally win the West here. I think Doncic is gonna have a really, really good year, as you're gonna see in the next slide. And yeah, so shout out to Mavericks.
Yep. Okay, let's go to our awards predictions. So my MVP is Joel Embiid. He was a runner-up last year. I think he wins it this year. I just don't see Jokic winning back to back to back, but I can see a guy like Giannis winning another one. Most improved, Tyrese Halliburton for me. I think it's a pretty easy choice. He's gonna have a lot more room to roam in Indiana for a full year. He looked really good when he was there. His short time last year.
Whoa. Edit that out. Edit that out.
Man of the year, Jordan Poole. He's going to be the number one scoring option off a really good Warriors team and a really good Warriors bench. I mean, off the bench on a really good Warriors team, not the number one option on the team. And yeah, I think he's a bucket. He's going to keep improving as he goes on. You saw his growth over last year, really emerged in the playoffs. And D-Pool, I have Giannis. Could see a guy like Anthony Davis winning this, or even boring pick like Gobert or Draymond. But I think Giannis is just a freak defensively, and long arms, fast, blocks shots, gets in passing lanes, and yeah, he's good. Rookie of the year, I think Paolo Banchero. Going to be surrounded by a bunch of other young dudes, and I just think he's the most NBA ready out of all the rookies, and I think that he's going to thrive. There's a reason why he went number 1. And coach of the year, Mike Malone. Nuggets, like I said, I think you're going to win 60+ games, and he'll be at the helm for that team.
Yeah, I like that. Coach of the year for me is Doc Rivers. I obviously had the Sixers pick, going 3 in the East, but the guys I had ahead of the Sixers, I think that Doc will win it because he almost lost his job this offseason. A lot of people were really frustrated with Doc. They wanted to bring in Jay Wright after he retired from Villanova. But I think Doc's gonna have a really good year, prove a lot of people wrong, and actually go far this time in the playoffs. We'll get to that though. Rookie of the year is Jabari Smith. I totally forgot about him, by the way, when we were just talking about the Rockets. It's another big piece for the Rockets. But yeah, I think Jabari Smith will be the best of the big 3. Obviously, Chet, fortunately, can't be in that conversation. But I think he'll just slight Banchero. But I think they're both really solid players. And then Keegan Murray, watch out, and Benedict Mathurin, I think.
Benedict Mathurin, sneaky dark horse for this.
Yeah. Defensive player of the year has got to be Evan Mobley. I think this guy's going to have a breakout year. Him and Jared Allen in the paint are a really solid duo in Cleveland. And we both had Cleveland as the 4 seed, so we both like them. Lock of the year if you're a gambler, 6-man Malcolm Brogdon. A lot of people assume he's a starter because he's been a very accomplished player. You know, Oliver thought he was a starter for Boston, but if he stays as a 6-man role because they started Derek White today, I mean, Malcolm Brogdon, I think, could be a really solid pick for 6-man of the year. Most improved, I hinted at it earlier. I think Davion Mitchell is going to win it. Davion Mitchell, I believe he's a 2nd-year player now out of Baylor. I think he's going to really improve this year and help that backcourt, him and De'Aaron in Sacramento. So yeah, what's up?
No, you're right. 2nd year.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And MVP, I got Doncic taking it home this time. I think he'll end up just averaging the most points in the NBA, and his team will be the number 1 overall seed. So I think they're going to give it to Doncic this time. But Joel Embiid's a great shot as always.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
You want to go ahead?
Word 2. Eastern Conference playoffs. Eastern Conference playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. This is where it all comes down. So, by the way, I just want to say to all you viewers, I believe the NBA season is way too long. I know maybe that's hurtful to some NBA diehards. Oliver, I know you're a big NBA guy. I am too, but not as. But I think the season is way too long. I mean, it's October. Every other sport is going on, which is great and all. But the season is going to be ending in June. I think that's way too long. I mean, come on. It's like a school season, but whatever. No one's going to be paying attention until 2023 or Christmas Day, really. But yeah, except your own team. Celtics, Pistons. I like the Pistons winning a little play-in tournament and getting into the playoffs and playing the Celtics. Shout out Cade Cunningham, going to be making his little debut. Going to go to the TD Garden and play all those green shirts. I mean, it's going to be tough for Cunningham. Cade, let's be real. Celtics are going to win that in 5. Nets versus Heat. 2v7, great battle. It goes to 6th game, but the Nets pull it out, and they actually advanced this time in the first round after they lost to the Celtics last year. I think KD has something else on his mind here. 76ers 3 versus the Bulls 6. I like the Sixers. My coach of the year, Doc Rivers, to play really well and beat the Bulls. Cavs Bucks. Wow, this will be good. I like the Bucks to choke first round, Oliver, and lose to the Cavs. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can go rock climbing with all this chalk, Oliver. I mean, come on. But don't worry, that won't last. I like the Cavs to upset the team with the best record in the East, the Boston Celtics. Yeah, you heard it. I like the Cleveland Cavaliers to make it to the Casey's Eastern Conference Finals, and they will play the 76ers, who I like to beat the Brooklyn Nets. 76ers versus Cavs, Eastern Conference Finals, where I have the Philadelphia 76ers taking it and making it to the NBA championship. Would be great. Right now, Philly is thriving in sports. They got the Eagles undefeated and the Phillies in the NL championship. So I mean, Philly would love this.
Yeah, Philly's 3 games away from the World Series. 3 wins away. My first round, I've pretty much all chalked to. I have Bucks beating Bulls, Celtics beating Raptors, Sixers beating Nets, and then Heat beat the Cavs because I think Cavs are going to be kind of worn out from the regular season. I think they're going to go pretty hard in the regular season. The Heat are nice and rested, and yeah, I think the Heat are just also have more experience down the stretch when it comes to the playoffs. Second round, Bucks, I think, take care of the Heat, and then Celtics take care of the Sixers. So then Celtics make another conference finals, but this time they lose to the Bucks.
Yeah, I like it, Oliver. I mean, geez, we've seen that Bucks Celtics matchup a few times now. We saw it last year.
Yeah, that's true.
It's becoming a nice little rivalry in the East. I mean, I think the West was stacked. I mean, 2016, 2015, when the Warriors Rockets, I mean, that Rockets team would have won an NBA championship if it wasn't for the Warriors like 3 different times. That team was a really good team. But that's when the West was stacked. The KD Thunder days, even. And I think the East is better now. It's closer. The West still has some good teams. Don't get me wrong. I just think it's deeper though. Western Conference playoffs: Mavericks, Trailblazers. I think Damian wins it out the little play-in tournament and gets to play the Mavericks, and they will lose. The Mavericks are going to advance to the next round. Warriors, Clippers, some big market teams. Even though I wouldn't really call the Clippers big market, but big market cities going at it, and I like the Warriors beating them. Nuggets, Lakers. I like the Lakers to upset Jokic of Nikola in the first round, and the Lakers to advance. Little upset, but that's what LeBron's going to do in the playoffs.
Facts.
Suns, Grizzlies. This is a really solid matchup right here. Grizzlies and Suns are 2 teams that were really solid in the playoffs the last few years. 2 up and coming teams now kind of in their prime, I would say, around. I like the Suns to get it done. Second round, Mavericks, Suns. Suns to upset the Mavericks. My team with the best record in the entire NBA. I like the ones losing to the 4 in both sides, the West and the East. We saw the Mavericks beat the Suns last year. I like the Suns now to get them in 7, and the Mavericks to choke their amazing season. Warriors, Lakers. This would be one for the ages. However, we haven't played them in the playoffs in the Curry era. That would be fun, but I like the Warriors. And my Western Conference Finals would be Warriors defeating the Suns in 6 games, and the Warriors making it back to another NBA championship.
Sheesh. Yeah, Nuggets, they're going to be able to take care of the ACT Wolves as the 1 seeds usually do. keep in mind, we're predicting this 7 months in advance, so it's pretty
Yeah.
hard to do.
We just predicted the whole regular season, and now we're just predicting hypothetical matchups for May of 2023.
Yeah,
We'll be
for
out
our
of high
for
school.
our for our made up playoffs that or our made up standings. But I mean, who knows? Could happen. Then we're geniuses. Warriors, I think, beat a good Pelicans team, but I think Pelicans make it harder than you may think. Grizzlies, I think, upset the Mavericks just due to I wouldn't even say experience, but I think the addition of Jaren Jackson Jr. back, Ja. It's gonna be a good series. That's gonna go 7. Suns beat the Clippers. Clippers back in the playoffs, high seed, first time in a while, probably since the Lob City days, and Suns take care of them though, upset. Then Nuggets, Warriors take care of 5, 6 seeds, and Suns, Grizzlies. And then it says Casey's Western Conference Finals. That's a mistake, but I have Warriors beating the Nuggets to also make it to the finals.
Yeah, I like it. We both have the Warriors. So here's
Sure.
my NBA Finals. Warriors 76ers. This will be a really good one. I really enjoyed last year's NBA Finals of the Warriors and the Celtics. This time we got Philly going against San Francisco or the Bay, and I like the Warriors
Overall,
beating it. Again,
oh,
you know, this team was counted off when 2019-2020 season hit. Even in the 2020-2021 season when they made the playing game, a lot of people thought this Warriors dynasty was over. They won it last year, and I think they're just as good, if not better, this year. James Wiseman, he's fully healthy, back at it again. They got a really good young core in Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and then obviously the big names in Andrew Wiggins, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. I really did Draymond Green, of course, Jordan Poole. I really do think this team is, if not, no, is the best team in the NBA and will win another ring. And they have one of the best coaches in the NBA, of course.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got, Oliver.
my winner of Warriors Bucks is the Bucks.
Wow.
I do think the Warriors are the best team in the NBA as well, but I just think the Bucks match up well with the Warriors with all their size and length, and athleticism. I don't think Warriors are that athletic in their starting lineup. I think most of their athleticism comes from the second unit, and I think the Bucks will kind of overpower that. But I think it will be a good series. Maybe go to 6 or 7. But I think I'll have the Bucks winning.
I like that. So there we have it, boys. Another prediction video. I'm really liking actually these prediction videos that we've been doing for playoffs and just regular seasons. They're actually really fun for us to make. We've enjoyed them, and I cannot wait for that World Cup video. We'll be having like slides for each group. Obviously, that's gonna be a fun one. So can't wait for that. And great video today. We will see y'all next week. And yeah, enjoy those MLB playoffs, NFL, college football, NHL, NBA. Man, we got it all right now. So just enjoy October while it lasts.
Yeah, it's only going to get better from here. November is also a good month, and no MLB obviously, but still, yep. See you
All
guys.
right.
Hope you enjoy.
Yeah.